Hi, my name is Hui, and I'm doing the Physiology of Stress today. And here's my student ASU ID. We've all heard the term stress, but exactly what does it mean, and how does it work? Through thousands of years of evolution, the human body's evolved to maintain a steady state through something called homeostasis. Stress is a state of disharmony. Stress, however, is counteracted by the body through physiological means, and is controlled by negative feedback systems. For example, CRH is released from the hypothalamus, which releases ACTH. ACTH releases cortisol and androgens. And as we all know, cortisol is a chemical of stress. When there is an increase in cortisol, a negative feedback system is used to decrease the amount of CRH released from the hypothalamus to bring the body back to homeostasis. Here are some early signs of stress. People in active jobs or people who have to have heavy pressure to perform and get results, such as stockbrokers, are the group most at risk for high stress levels. Early signs of stress include low productivity, increased absences at work, anxiety, and sleep problems. Although there are many chemicals that affect stress, the three main chemicals that we're going to talk about today are cortisol, adrenaline, norepinephrine, and the physiology of them. Chronic stress can cause complications such as increased cortisol production, which causes decreased amounts of CAMP, responsive element proteins, which is very similar to people with depression and mood disorders. In the body, there are two types of nervous systems. The parasympathetic nervous system, which tells your body everything is fine and okay and you can rest. The other being the sympathetic nervous system, which activates your flight or fight response. The release of cortisol has to do with your sympathetic nervous system. It is released from the adrenal cortex in response to a stimulus, which allows your body to stay on high alert. Cortisol also has catabolic mechanisms which provide energy to the body. Furthermore, cortisol is a glucocorticoid, which increases blood glucose to the brain, which can damage blood vessels in the brain over time, which carry oxygen-rich blood. Furthermore, high cortisol levels increase glucogenesis, which makes it so that muscle cells decrease glucose uptake and increase protein degradation. Also, cortisol acts on the pancreas to decrease insulin and increase glucagon, which can increase your blood sugar levels. Let's talk about the effects of adrenaline. Adrenaline has pharmacology effects on alpha and beta adrenergic receptors. Alpha receptors mediate smooth muscle contraction and vascular constriction, while usually beta receptors mediate vasodilation and smooth muscle relaxation. When adrenaline acts on alpha receptors, adrenaline induces increased vascular smooth muscle contractions, while also increasing pupillary dilated muscle contraction. When adrenaline acts on the beta receptors, adrenaline can produce bronchodilation, which can make it easier to breathe, which is why adrenaline is also used as a drug for people with asthma sometimes. The last chemical that we'll be talking about is norepinephrine. Much like adrenaline and cortisol, is part of the sympathetic nervous systems. Acute stressors will elevate MHPG SO4 in limbic regions, which is a metabolite of norepinephrine. Stress will also activate norepinephrine release in brain regions including the central and medial amygdala. This is especially important since the amygdala is commonly thought to be the neural system for processing fearful and threatening stimuli. Furthermore, norepinephrine induces constricted blood vessels and increased adrenaline production in the human body. The biochemistry part of stress. Here are some treatments for stress in the short run. So some treatments for stress are beta blockers, which essentially slow down the heart rate and can help lower blood pressure levels. Another treatment are CNS depressants, which encompass a variety of sedatives, tranquilizers, and anti-anxiety medication that will slow the body down instead of speeding it up due to stress. Lastly, SSRIs should be someone's last options, as these selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors are a common treatment for depression. They also prevent your blood system absorbing serotonin, leaving more of it in the brain. A disclaimer, these are for short-term use and not systemic way of treatment, which we'll be talking about in the next slide. Here are some systemic treatments for stress. Lifestyle changes such as maintaining a healthy diet, having an active lifestyle, and staying away from harmful substances can all help. Lastly, the number one treatment for stress should be going outside, as it has been shown to actively reduce stress levels. Lastly, here are my references.